Okay, so for this video, we will talk about the stopping sight distance. So, ano ba yung stopping sight distance? It is the length of roadway needed between a vehicle and an arbitrary object, which is at some point down the road, to permit a driver to stop a vehicle safely before reaching the obstruction. So, bakit ba natin kailangan pag-aralan ng stopping sight distance? Kasi, construction of vertical curve, since yun yung previous topic natin, it is generally a costly operations requiring the movement of significant amounts of earthen material. So meaning to say, magastos. And that became one of the primary challenges that our highway designers faced. So inisip nila paano kaya natin mami-minimize yung construction cost. So yung naisip nilang way is to design a vertical curve as short as possible while still providing an adequate level of safety. So yung level of safety na pinag-uusapan natin dito, it is usually defined as the level of safety that gives drivers sufficient sight distance to allow them to safely stop their vehicles to avoid collisions with objects obstructing their forward motion. So talking about stopping sight distance, merong dalawang object na involve dito. First is yung vehicle, and the second one is the object which serves as an obstruction. So in the computation of the minimum stopping sight distance, kino-consider natin yung height ng driver's eye and yung height ng obstruction. So yung na-derive nilang standard value is 3.5 feet para sa driver's eye height and 6 inches para naman sa height ng obstruction. Then, sa stopping sight distance, meron tayong tatlong time interval na kino-consider. First one is the time for the driver to perceive the obstruction. The second one is the time to react. And the last one is the time for the vehicle to stop after brakes are applied. So, yung first two time intervals natin, ito yung tinatawag na perception reaction time. So, ito yung time na nakita ng driver yung hazard or yung obstruction and then nag-react siya. So, ano ba yung reaction? Siyempre, tatapak siya sa brakes para unti-unti siyang huminto. So, according to studies, the perception reaction time ranges from 2 to 2.5 seconds. So, depende yan sa alertness, care, skill, and vision of the driver. Isama na natin yung weather condition. So, yun yung factors that affects the perception reaction time. Pero, kapag magsosolve tayo ng problem at hindi ibinigay yung perception reaction time, ang gagamitin natin is 2.5 seconds. Kasi sa range ng 2 to 2.5, 2.5 yung worst. Kasi yun yung pinakamahabang time para ma-realize ng driver na may hazard na paparating. So, worst case scenario, 2.5 seconds ang gagamitin natin. Meaning to say, stopping sight distance consists of two distances. First one is the distance traveled during the perception reaction time, and the second one is the distance traveled after brakes are applied. So, yun yung tinatawag na braking distance or BD. So, para sa formula ng distance traveled during the perception reaction time, that is denoted by capital letter D, it is simply velocity multiplied by T. Again, T ranges from 2 to 2.5 seconds. But if not given, we will use 2.5 seconds. So, that is in meters per second if velocity is in meters per second. So, if the velocity is in kilometers per hour, you can simply use Vt divided by 3.6. So, yung 3.6 dito is just a conversion factor of kilometers per hour to meters per second. And then, para naman sa braking distance, that is V squared over 2G multiplied by F plus G if the velocity is in meters per second. So, if the velocity is in kilometers per hour naman, that would be V squared over 2G multiplied by F plus G times 3.6 squared. Again, 3.6 squared is just a conversion factor. So, Yung F dito is the coefficient of friction. So usually, ibinibigay naman siya sa problem kung hindi siya ang hinahanap. Then, letter G is the road grade. So yun yung slope ng road. So kapag hindi nagbigay ng slope sa problem, meaning horizontal siya. And the value of G for horizontal surfaces is 0. And BD is the distance in meters. Then, idagdag ko na rin yung small letter G is the acceleration due to gravity. Meaning, the total stopping site distance is equal to Vt plus V squared over 2G multiplied by F plus G if the velocity is in meters per second, and Vt over 3.6 plus V squared over 2G multiplied by F plus G times 3.6 squared if the velocity is in kilometers per hour. So, yun lang yung kailangan natin tandaan sa stopping site distance. Now, let's talk about the passing site distance. So, unlike stopping site distance na ang involve ay isang vehicle at isang object or obstruction, dito naman sa passing site distance, vehicle parehas ang ating objects. So, yun yung involved na objects. So, passing site distance is the length of roadway ahead visible to the driver. The minimum passing site distance for overtaking a vehicle is the shortest distance sufficient for a vehicle to turn out of its traffic lane, pass another vehicle, and then turn back to its lane safely without interfering with the overtaken vehicle and the incoming vehicle which was sighted when the overtaking maneuver started. Meaning to say, ito yung distance required para makapag-overtake ka safely without interfering yung in-overtake mo at yung paparating na sasakyan na kasalubong mo. So, the passing site distance or PSD used for design is assumed to consist of 4 distances. So, ito yung illustration niya. So, ito yung passing vehicle, ito yung opposing vehicle, and ito naman yung overtaken vehicle. So, nag-overtake si passing vehicle sa vehicle na to, and then bumalik siya sa dati niyang lane. So, meron tayong 4 na distances involved here. First one is the initial maneuver distance. So, sa figure, ito yon, yung D sub 1. And then we have the distance that the passing vehicle traverses while occupying the left lane. So, once na makalipat na yung passing vehicle sa left lane, yung distance na yon, yung tinutukoy dito. That is denoted by D sub 2. And we have the clearance length between the passing and opposing vehicles at the end of the passing maneuver. So, by the time na babalik na ulit yung passing vehicle sa dati niyang lane, yung distance from that vehicle to the opposing vehicle, yun naman yung tinutukoy dito. That is denoted by D sub 3. And then, the distance traversed by the opposing vehicle during 2/3 of the time the passing vehicle occupies the left lane, yun naman yung D sub 4. Meaning to say, the passing site distance is equal to D1 plus D2 plus D3 plus D4. So, talking about site distance, meron tayong mga derived formulas for site distances in different situations. First one is the site distance on horizontal curves. So, let's say ito yung ating figure. We have the the site distance denoted by capital letter S, and then the length of the curve denoted by L sub C. So, again, ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is horizontal curve. And makikita nyo dito, mayroon tayong obstruction. And we have M as the clearance from the obstruction to the road. So, the formula, meron tayong kino-consider na meron tayong dalawang kino-consider na formula depende sa relationship nung S at nung L sub C. So, when S is less than L sub C, the formula na gagamitin natin is R equal to S squared over 8M. And if S is greater than L sub C, R is equal to L multiplied by 2S minus L divided by 8M. Again, L sub C is the length of the curve, R is the radius of the curve, and S is the sight distance. So, ang una mong kailangan gawin is mag-assume ka ng relationship ng S at L sub C. So, kapag na-solve mo siya at tama yung relationship, meaning tamang formula yung ginamit mo. But if not, gamitin mo yung isang formula. So, makikita natin yan mamaya sa problem natin. Then, sight distance on vertical summit curves. So, ito yung figure. We have H1, the height of the driver's eye. H2 is the height of the object. S is the sight distance. L is the length of the curve. Again, meron tayong relationship na sinusunod. Relationship ng S at ng L. So, doon nakabase yung gagamitin nating formula. So, when S is less than L, ito yung derived formula. We have L equal to AS squared over 100 multiplied by square root of 2H1 plus square root of 2H2 quantity squared. And if when S is greater than L, then the formula is L is equal to 2S minus 200 multiplied by square root of H1 plus square root of H2 quantity squared over A. So, yung A dyan is yung change in grade in percent. So, that would be G1 minus G2. So, for standard values in road design, if we are talking about stopping sight distance, so yung value ng H1 and H2 natin is 3.75 feet and 6 inches respectively, or 1.14 meters and 0.15 meters respectively. And kung passing sight distance naman, H1 is 3.75 feet, H2 is equal to 4.5 feet, or 1.14 meters and 1.37 meters respectively. Next, sight distance on vertical sag curve with obstruction overpass. So, ito yung figure. So, when S is greater than L, ito yung figure. So, ito ay vertical sag curve na merong perpendicular na overpass. So, the formula is L equal to 2S multiplied by G2 minus G1 minus 8H over G2 minus G1. So, yung capital letter H, that is C minus Z. So, makikita nyo naman sa figure kung alin yung tinutukoy niya. And Z is equal to H1 plus H2 divided by 2. And then, for when S is less than L, ito yung figure. L is equal to S squared multiplied by G2 minus G1 divided by 8H. Still, H is equal to C minus Z, and Z is equal to H1 plus H2 divided by 2. And then for sight distance on sag parabolic curves. So the length of sag curves are usually based on headlight beam distance. So ito yung figure. So ito yung headlight beam. And then beta is the angle that the headlight beam creates with the horizontal. So for the standard value, H is equal to 2 feet and beta is equal to 1 degree. So when S is less than L, the formula is L is equal to AS squared divided by 200 multiplied by S tangent beta plus H. That is feet or meter. So for H is equal to 2 feet and beta is equal to 1 degree, kasi itong naunang formula, ito yung general formula. So kapag i-apply mo na yung standard design value, ito na yon. So L is equal to AS squared over 400 plus 3.5 S. Pero siya ay naka-feet. So kung meters ang given na values, ito na lang gamitin natin, yung naunang formula. And then for when S is greater than L, we have L equal to 2S minus 200 multiplied by H plus S tangent beta divided by A. So, it's either feet or meter. That is the general formula. And if we apply naman natin yung standard design value for H is equal to 2 feet and beta is equal to 1 degree, So ito yung formula. That would be 2s minus 400 plus 3.5s divided by a, and that is in feet. Okay, so let us have an example. Number 1. A vehicle moving at 60 km per hour along an inclined surface was stopped by applying brakes and the braking distance was 30 meters. If the coefficient of friction is 0.5, compute the slope of the inclined surface. So, simple lang. Ilista muna natin yung mga given values. So, we have the braking distance equal to 30 meters. The velocity, 60 kilometers per hour. F is 0.5. G is unknown. So, yun yung hinahanap. So, ito ay direct substitution lang. Ang gagamitin natin is yung formula ng braking distance, which is V squared over 2G multiplied by F plus G. If the velocity is in meters per second. But since the velocity here is in kilometers per hour, ito yung gagamitin nating formula. V squared over 2G multiplied by F plus G multiplied by 3.6 squared. So, isubstitute lang natin. We have 60 squared divided by 2 times 9.81, the acceleration due to gravity, plus 0.5 plus G multiplied by 3.6 squared. So, the answer is negative 0.0281 or 2.81% downward. So, downward yung slope nung inclined surface. Next, find the total distance that a car traveled from the time the driver saw the hazard when he was at 75 kilometers per hour. The perception reaction time is 2 seconds and the average skid resistance is 0.6. Assume that the brakes of car has an efficiency of 80%. So, we have velocity equal to 75 kilometers per hour. The friction, ang nakalagay dito is skid resistance. So, that is 0.6. G is 0 since hindi naman nabanggit na inclined yung surface. T is 2 seconds. So, ito yung perception reaction time. Again, kapag hindi siya binigay, 2.5 seconds ang gagamitin natin. But since minensyon naman na 2 seconds, so that's it. So, ang hinahanap natin is stopping sight distance. So, the stopping sight distance, so mali lang kung nasa formula ko, this is stopping SSD or stopping sight distance. So, we have VT plus V squared over 2G multiplied by F plus G if in meters per second, and VT divided by 3.6 plus V squared over 2G multiplied by F plus G times 3.6 squared if the velocity is in kilometers per hour. So, ang gagamitin natin is yung pangalawang formula, direct substitution lang ulit. We have stopping sight distance equal to 75 times 2 divided by 3.6 plus 75 squared divided by 2 multiplied by 9.81 multiplied by 0.6 plus 0. So, yung G natin is 0 since horizontal siya. Multiplied by 3.6 squared. So, the answer is... Okay, so, nagbigay pala siya ng efficiency ng brakes. So, ang gagawin mo lang dyan, i-divide mo lang yung braking distance by its efficiency or by the efficiency of the brakes. Yung braking distance lang, kasi pinag-uusapan natin dito is brake efficiency. So, kung mapapansin mo dyan, 80% efficient lang ang brakes niya. So, meaning, yung braking distance, kapag dinivide mo siya ng 0.8, lalaki. Kasi nga, hindi 100% efficient yung brake. So, yung mas mahabang distance pa yung matatravel niya bago siya mag-full stop. So, the answer is 87.75 meters. Next, a curve has a positive 0.6% back tangent meeting a negative 1.2% forward tangent. It is designed so that the change in grade is 0.15% per meter station. So, one station is 20 meters, sabi dito. Calculate the stopping site distance in meter of the curve. Okay, so we have G1 equal to positive 0.6%, then G2 equal to negative 1.2%. So, nagbigay ng rate of change of grade. So, for every 20 meters, may change in grade na 0.15%. So, ito yung mga formula natin. So, ang ginawa ko dito, in-assume ko na S is less than L. So, ito yung formula na gagamitin natin. So, wala pa tayong value ng A. Okay. So, ang value ng A is G1 minus G2 or yung difference in the two grades. So, we have A equal to 0.6 minus negative 1.2. So, we have A equal to 1.8%. So, para makuha natin ang value ng L, since ang hinahanap natin ay stopping site distance, kunin muna natin yung value ng L. Paano? Nagbigay naman ng rate of change. So, that is 0.15% per 20 meters. So, by using ratio and proportion, we can say that 0.15 divided by 20 is equal to the total change in grade, which is 1.8 divided by the total length. So, by using your calculator, we have L is equal to 240 meters. So, isubstitute lang natin siya. Again, para sa standard values, since we're talking about stopping site distance, H1 is equal to 3.75 feet or 1.14 meters. H2 is equal to 6 inches or 0.15 meters. So, substitute lang natin yung values. We have 240 equal to 1.8 multiplied by S squared divided by 100 multiplied by square root of 2H1. So, H1 is 1.14 plus square root of 2H2. H2 is 0.15. So, quantity squared. So, S is equal to 237.6 meters. So, ganito yung gagawin nyo. Once na makuha mo yung value ng S, i-compare mo siya sa value ng L. So, ang nakuha nating relationship, S, which is 237.6, is less than L, which is 240. Meaning, tama yung assumption natin. Okay, so ito na yung ating final answer. Pero kapag ang lumabas dyan is, halimbawa, ang lumabas dito sa S mo is 250 meters, so, mali yung assumption natin kasi magiging S is greater than L. So, kapag ganun yung situation, uulitin mo lang yung solution mo using the other formula. Next, a descending grade of negative 2% meets an ascending grade of positive 3% in a vertical sag parabolic curve. Determine the length of the curve if the stopping site distance is 178 meters. So we have G1 equal to negative 2%, G2 equal to positive 3%, and S equal to, or the stopping site distance, is equal to 178 meters. So ang hinahanap naman ay length ng curve. So ito yung formula na gagamitin natin. Again, in-assume ko na S is less than L. So ang gagamitin nating formula ay ito, yung una. So we have AS squared divided by 200 multiplied by S tangent beta plus H. So A is equal to G2 minus G1. A is equal to 3 minus negative 2. So yung change in grade natin is 5%. Since hindi nagbigay ng other standards or other values para sa H at sa beta, gagamitin natin yung standard value. So, H is equal to 2 feet and beta equal to 1 degree. So, we have L equal to A is 5, S is 178 squared divided by 200 multiplied by 178 tangent 1. So, yun yung S tangent beta. 178 tangent 1. Plus 2 feet. Kasi yung ating stopping site distance is in meters. So, i-convert natin yung 2 feet into meters. So, that would be 2 divided by 3.5. 3.28 since 1 meter is equal to 3.28 feet. So the answer is 213.12 meters. So again, i-compare natin siya sa value ng L. So S, which is 178, this is not S, this is L. L is equal to 213.12 meters. Sorry. So we have L equal to 213.12. I mean, S is equal to 178, which is less than L that is equal to 213.12. So we have S less than L, meaning to say the assumption is correct, meaning ito na yung ating final answer. Again, this is not S ha. This is L. Nagkamali lang ako dito. So, meron tayong other formula para sa pagkuha ng L. We have AS squared over 122 plus 3.5S. So, ang makukuha nating value dito is in feet. Kasi, itong formula na to is na-derive using these standard values. Next, a highway curve has a radius of 80 meters and a length of 90 meters. If the required sight distance is 60 meters, how far off the center of the curve could you allow the bushes to grow? So, ang pinag-uusapan natin dito is horizontal curve. Ito yung figure, katulad nung kanina sa discussion natin. So, we have R equal to 80 meters. Yun yung radius. We have length ng curve equal to 90 meters. And S equal to 60 meters. So, ang hinahanap natin dito is yung value ng M or yung clearance. Sabi dito, how far off the center of the curve could you allow the bushes to grow? So, by formula, ito yung formula na gagamitin natin. So, i-compare muna natin yung S at LC. So, ang S natin is 60 meters, LC is 90 meters. Therefore, S is less than L sub C. So, ang gagamitin nating formula is R equal to S squared over 8M. So, substitute lang natin yung values. We have 80 equal to 60 squared divided by 8M. So, the value of M is 5.625 meters and that is our final answer. So, that's all for chapter 3. So, I hope may natutunan kayo. So, para sa next discussion natin, magsisimula na tayo sa chapter 4. Thank you.